Well, guys, it's the weekend. Let me go through some great sales to keep you entertained for the rest of the week. Plus, Fanatical seems to be having some really great sales through December 24th, so they have you covered. But let's go through a few games I found on Steam and Fanatical that might be worth your time. First up is Tales of Berseria on Steam, and I do enjoy this one. The combat's pretty good, and the story is excellent. Basically, you follow Velvet Crow, a young girl who, after her brother in law betrays her, murders her younger brother, and turns her into a violent hellspawn, is out for revenge. Only problem is, the year she was in prison, said brother in law Torius has become known as a shepherd and is the last stand for humanity against the demon horde. Velvet's got to get over her rather large anger issues and rediscover her humanity if she's to stop them, because there are larger, more bigger things at play that threaten humanity. Basically, all the characters are in a bit of a moral gray area, and it does kind of go what makes humans human is our ability to fall and our ability to pick ourselves back up again, something Artorias sees as a weakness and wants to strip. Anyways, story's moving. The English voiceover is just terrific. Well worth $5. And yeah, there are other Tales games available on Steam that are on sale, but my suggestion is not to pick them up on Steam. It's time to move over to Fanatical, where you can save about 50 cents to a dollar each on these compared to getting them on Steam directly. So, the first game I want to talk about is Tales of Symphonia for $4.39. If you like your old school JRPGs, then I do recommend Tales of Symphonia. Basically, the story is every once in a while, Mana disappears from the world of Silverant, and Silverant starts to die. Worse, a race of elves known as the Desians come and start to wreck the place and enslave people until a chosen one can complete their pilgrimage and restore the mana and get rid of the Desians, at least for a little while. Lloyd's friend Colette is the latest chosen one, and she is now off on a quest to save the world. And after a few antics that Lloyd pulls, he manages to get banished from his village. Lloyd decides to join her. However, there are things he discovers along the way. The real reason the chosen one exists is to be sacrificed, and there's another world who could be destroyed if Colette succeeds in her pilgrimage to save Silverot. Yes, I will admit this is ripping off Final Fantasy X by a lot, and then goes in and starts to rip off Final Fantasy V, or actually does Final Fantasy V story better. But I enjoy the story a bit more because it has a sense of humor, and I think just better overall characters. The action, although a bit dated, is still worth playing. It's for the most part a 2D action game and a 3D environment, but it's still pretty fun, and I do recommend it for less than $5. Another great Tales game is Tales of Vesperia, and I will say this is probably one of my favorite JRPGs out there. Yeah, Chrono Trigger's good, but I do think Vesperia is a bit better, especially when it comes to story characters. It's got more humor, and I do enjoy its combat system better. And again, what makes this game so good are the characters. Yuri the protag is not some wide-eyed idealist like Lloyd, nor is he emo to the core like Cloud. Rather, he's a cynical ex-soldier with a bit of a sense of humor. When the lower ward of the Empire loses the water blast and their clean water, he sets off to get it back and gain some friends, including a book smart but street dumb princess, a young boy who wants to start his own guild, a smart-ass mage, and with the new version, you also get a young pirate girl. The combat again is similar to Symphonia with a lot better controls. You can move around in 3D a lot easier, and there's some different combos you can do. Again, this game is definitely worth checking out for $10. I consider it the best Tales game, hands down, and well worth the fact that this is almost double the price of the other ones. Well, let's move from JRPGs to more action-oriented. Konami has some sales on their classic collections. First is the Contra collection. The Contra Anniversary Collection, going for $3.09, gives you Contra Arcade, Super Contra, Contra for the Famicom, Contra for the NES, Contra 3, Operation C, and Hardcore, and all but the last one are worth playing, and it's really a fun run and gun, well worth getting for $3.09. Another game I recommend, and I do recommend getting this one fast because it usually sells out on Fanatical, is Castlevania for $3.09. It's time to grab your whip and set out to kill Dracula, and for the $3 you get Castlevania, Castlevania 2, Castlevania Adventure 2, Castlevania 3, Super Castlevania 4, and Castlevania Bloodlines, and most of those are worth playing, and even the ones that have flaws are worth at least trying. And you get the never-released NES spin-off Kid Dracula, all for less than what it costs for a large fry at a fast food place nowadays. And of course, if I'm going to be talking about classic action collections, I'm going to have to bring up the Mega Man X Legacy Collection Volume 1. And as usual, Fanatical has the best sales on Capcom games. Mega Man X here is $6.79, and this sale does go through Christmas Eve. Basically, I consider the original Mega Man X as one of the best action games I've ever played, and Mega Man X4 is tied for that position, and you get both of them in these collection for $6.79. Plus, you get X2, which is phenomenal, and you get X3, which is kind of there. And then they also have Mega Man X Legacy Collection 2 for the same price. I don't really recommend it as much, as X5 is kind of mid. It's not terrible, it is fun, it's just nothing spectacular. X6 is only playable thanks to the new Rookie Hunter mode they threw into this collection. Mega Man fans don't ever talk about X7 for a reason. However, X8 is a true hidden gem, and I do recommend picking up the Legacy Collection 2 just for that one because it is a fun game. It doesn't have the stage design that Mega Man X and X4 have, and it's held back by that. But the rest of the game is actually pretty fun and has some good story and English voice acting, so try to give X8 a chance. Then, moving on to another great collection, we have Mega Man ZX for $8.54, and I do love the Zero series. It's a great follow-up to the X series. Set 100 years after X, we see Zero waking up to a dystopian wasteland where the Reploid race is being hunted to extinction, and the person behind it appears to be X of all people. Zero has to help the Resistance plot a revolt against X's tyrannies at the Reploid races describe. It's an interesting series. It has some great graphics for the Game Boy Advance, and one I do recommend picking up for that price. Then we have the Mega Man Legacy Collection for less than $5. It's got all the Mega Man NES games from Mega Man 1 through 6. All of these are classic and super fun, and while the first one does have some age spots, it still holds up well. 2 through 6 are really good gems, with Mega Man 3 and 6 being some of my favorite in this franchise, so definitely pick it up for less than $5. Then, with no objection, I would like to suggest Phoenix Wright for $8.54. If you're looking for a bunch of visual novel games with a great sense of humor and some really tricky puzzles, then I do suggest Phoenix Wright. These are some great updates to the original Nintendo DS/Game Boy Advance titles. Capcom did a great job updating these graphically. In this game, you play as Phoenix Wright, a defense attorney who has to clear his clients of murder. The problem is, in Phoenix's world, the prosecutors usually win, and the defense attorneys have the deck stacked against them, to the point where the prosecutors can literally whip them in court. And if you understand just some simple facts of the Japanese legal system, you understand some of the parody that's going on here. Still, the game's funny, it has some fun puzzles, and some decent mysteries, and I do recommend picking it up. And finally, my last recommendation is DuckTales Remastered for $3.22. Now, I do love the original DuckTales for the NES. It's available in the Disney Afternoon Collection, but another game you should definitely check out when it's on sale is DuckTales Remastered. WayForward did a good job updating the graphics, and they look great. It's the last time a lot of the main cast also got together, as a lot of the voice actors have passed away in the last decade. And it just feels like a throwback to an episode of the 80s DuckTales. There are a few things WayForward changed to pad it out that doesn't sit well with the diehard original NES fans, and I think that would make a great versus video just comparing the two. But I do believe both versions are worth getting, and I do recommend checking this one out for that price. Anyways, this is Tommy the Game Master. I thank you for listening to this video. If you found it helpful, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later, and if there's any other great sales going on in this holiday, I appreciate you leaving them in the comments below.